Hey everybody out there, this is Seto, and today for you guys I am actually going to be doing my part 2 of my deck collection. Yes, these are all the other decks that I did not go through last time I made the deck collection video. So I have 3 tins worth of decks to go through and 2 more deck boxes and the extra deck box, which I keep and I'll talk about later. Let's get started back with the blaster tin, which was the last tin we were at. So the last, you guys really seem to enjoy these deck, my collection videos. So we're going to continue to do it. We'll eventually show off my collection of binders and whatnot that I have. And like I said in the last video, do keep in mind that I've been playing this game for 13 years plus almost. And you know, since the beginning, I've always had a hand in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I've pretty much constantly played the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Since I was a kid. So that's why I have so many decks. You accumulate a lot of cards, you make a lot of decks out of those cards, etc, etc, etc. So this deck is actually a fun deck that I built back in the, I guess you could say like the mid 2000s, so like 2005 I built this deck originally. Then I dismantled it because cards got hit on the ban list. And then I rebuilt it about 3 years ago. This is my burn deck. Now it's not chain burn, it's not like chain burn decks, you know, but it's a burn deck. It's a burn deck. So pretty much the objective of this deck is be very passive, make no aggressive moves, and just burn your opponent constantly with things like dropping lava golems, equipping Mask of the Accused, and you know, things like that to your opponent, and sift through your deck with pod dualities and collate a Solar Flare Dragon Lock. This is such a fun deck, and I will have to admit, out of all my decks I've ever played, with the exception of a couple of them, this has actually had the highest win ratio and out of all of them. Anytime I play against a player, I'm just like, okay, let's play with this deck. And they're just like, you don't do nothing aggressive, all my traps are dead. So, you know, it causes the opponent to just have to attack you to get to your life points. And you know, you run 3 magical cylinders, which is amazing, and Nimble Mongolias to gain back life points. It's a fun deck. You just sit there and just play passively. Your opponent has to attack you and you just are always on the defensive, but it's such a fun deck to play. So let's find another deck to play with next. Let me put this one back quickly. But yeah, it's a very passive deck, and it's a fun deck that I rebuilt from back when I was in my younger days. I guess you could say back when I was like 13 or 14, I built that deck with my brother. It was cheap and it's fun. If you guys want me to do a deck profile of that, I will. Next, I have my Zane Truesdale deck, I call it, but Cyber Dragons. Many of you guys probably don't know this. I've said this a couple of times on my channel. I actually used to play with Cyber Sister and OTK for that short period of time with some friends back when it was legal. And what I mean by that is we each had all the cards because they came out of Dark Beginnings 2 at the time, and we all got to build that deck. We pretty much piled our cards together, me, my friends, and my brothers, and we built that deck at our locals. And took it to a tournament, I think it was, at regionals before it got banned. It was fun. But I've been playing with Cyber Dragons ever since back then. I actually played with Cyber Dragons back before Cyber Dragon actually got limited. And then I didn't really play with the deck at all for over I guess you could say like almost a decade, about 9-8 years. I really didn't pick up the deck. I had some leftover pieces like my Cyber Dragons, my Power Bonds, my Limit Removals, you know, that I used to use because I just kept them because of, like, this is one of my original Power Bonds, my original Cyber Valley right there. I pretty much kept a couple of things from when I built the deck originally, but then I heard about, you know, Cyber Dragons getting new support, and I was like, oh, I gotta build this deck. So I built the deck, and that's my original Limit Removal that I used to use with old OTK decks back in the day, and I think that's my original Power Bond from when I played Cyber Dragons. This card's been in a lot of decks throughout the years, but pretty much I built this deck. It's a fun deck. It's really OTK, but I really like the deck. It's really fun. I have updated it and worked on it recently to make it more consistent by adding things like Trap Stun and One Day of Peace recently to the deck. I've been playing around with it, updating it. It's pretty dang good. I like it. It's a fun deck. It's not going to be meta. It was meta for like a quick second there earlier this year, but in like early 2014, but not so much anymore. But it can make good level rank 5. It can make fusions. You can bring Cyber End Dragon out and just make crazy plays. I really, really like that deck a lot. And brings back very, very good memories. The next deck we have is a deck which I haven't deck profiled yet. I'll be working on this as soon as I'm done with this. And if I can't remember if I actually showed it in the other profile, but is the Falafel deck. I talked about you guys that I was making this deck, I think in the last video though, so I'm not going to profile that too much, but yes, the Falafel deck. So let's go put that tin to the side and we'll go through the first big deck box. No, I never played World of Warcraft, but I got this deck box from a friend years ago. Actually, when I bought a deck off him, which is where I still keep that deck I brought off him. So first off, I keep this little divider sleeve in there. We got this. Now don't worry, that's not Jet Roy. This is just a proxy card I threw in there because I used it for another deck recently. This is what I call my Warrior Spellcaster Exceed Synchro deck, or my rank 4 toolbox. This deck, I pretty much took a whole bunch of cool cards that I've always loved in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And back when Exceeds were originally first coming out, I built this deck. Because I wanted to get an idea of how you make Exceeds and, you know, the gist of that. And I threw some good synchros in there. And pretty much what I did is I made a Warrior deck. So it's like a Warrior Exceed deck with Spellcasters sprinkled in there. So it's just a fun deck with a lot of good standalone monsters that you can play around with. So for example, like you got Quirky Mirror Berserker, Injection Fair Lily, just cards I've always had, you know, a liking for and I've always wanted to play in the deck. They may not be, this deck is by no means meta, but like you got Neo Grand Space Mole, Marauding Captain, my original one, but it pretty much its objective is to make rank 3 and 4 Exceed monsters, have good standalone monsters like Fire Fencing Ferret or Pavu from, you know, LOK, Legend of Korra, and also make synchro monsters that are rank 5, 6, 7, and 8. You know, but it's a really fun deck. I call it the Marauding Captain deck because Marauding Captain plays a major part in how this deck functions. So that's why I call it the Marauding Captain deck. The next deck I play is Herald of Perfection. Now, different people like playing different builds of Herald Perfection. I actually like playing the Agent version because you can just summon a whole bunch of big boss monsters out in the field. And Herald of Perfection is not the main objective of the deck per se. I'm sorry it's very hollow. This deck is very hollowed out throughout the years, but it's not the main objective. You know, Herald of Perfection is, but he is kind of the side objective. You can still drop things like Archlord Christia, Master Hyperion, and the deck functions like a normal, I guess you could say, agent deck with Herald of Perfection in there if you can get him out. So it's a dual objective. Get Herald of Perfection out, get a boss monster out, and just wreak havoc. It's very good. I took out some cards so I can make it like it plays Advanced Ritual Art, and your main targets are Mystic, one of the Shining Balls, because they really are not that good without, you know, making synchro plays and everything. And then you also have, I believe it's Elf. I forget what she's called off the top of my head. But yeah, Doness the Dark Witch, which is one of my favorite normal monsters of all time, next to Blue Eyes White Dragon, I guess you could say, and Dark Magician. But she's one of my favorite. Actually, probably one of my favorite fairy monster of all time. But I really like it because it's got like a whatchamacallit. I have Preparation of Rites in here. I got them a long time ago. But pretty much it's a Dark Factory build with an agent engine, and it's really fun to play with. Yes, I've played around with the Spirit build, and it's good. I like it, but I like the fact that with this I could summon these huge, big boss monsters and go for synchro and exceed plays, and you know, you have these versatile things you can do with the deck. So that's why I like that build over the other. I will probably in the future be working on building the Herald of Ultimus deck eventually, but that's neither here nor there. That's going to be for a future thing once Preparation of Rites gets a reprint and I can have 2 more, or just have a complete play set, because I only play 2 in that deck. So this is one of my, I guess you could say, one of my last competitive decks I ever built to some extent. I put it away in like a shoebox for a long time. Didn't really pick it back up until like earlier this year, like in the springtime. This is, I guess you could say, the Watts. It's a Hunters deck. It's Hunters with, you know, Watt Giraffe, so you can protect your big monsters before you make your Exceed plays. But it's a Hunters deck, and it is really, 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 really awesome. The fact that you can go for things like Constellar Omega, Pillarman 7, Starlight, you know, you can go with, what is it called? Starter Spark Dragon. You can make him in here. You can make Ray Dragon Archfiend, equip him with Vylon Prisma. He gets big attack. He protects himself. You know, it's a good rank for Exceed based deck, and I really like it because Thunder Seahorse is a card, and it's really fun. And I really like it. It's amazing. It's a good rank 4 toolbox deck. The fact that you don't always special summons, you just go normal. You can get around things like Vanity's Emptiness, things like that. They're all light based, so you can use Honest and other light based support cards. You have good cards like Recycle, so you can just freaking recycle all your cards and go off again. It's a very, very good deck. It's a very fun deck, and I really, really enjoy it thoroughly. I played this competitively back when it originally came out. Sold parts of the deck because I was like, I'm gonna go get out competitive play. Then rebuilt the deck about a year ago. I did keep most of my Pa, Ma, and Sis Hunters though, so that's why I still have those in first ed. The next deck we have over here is a deck that I'm hoping I don't have to dismantle by the end of the year, and it's my Skill Drain Beast deck. This is a deck I personally built. I call it the Steel of the Old Calcos deck because it's really fun. But pretty much this deck involves, main objective is to get Skill Drain out in the field and go for some of these big beat sticks with like Gene Warp Werewolf, Beast Monsters. Just really have a bunch of fun. Lock your opponent down with Skill Drain and just beat them over the head with big normal vanilla beat sticks. But it's a normal base deck with things like Beast King Barbaros sprinkled in there, Volse Raider, Cataville Omen to search for the traps. I'm hoping, because it hasn't been hit. You know, I've had this deck. I made this deck with a friend like years ago. We built this, and I built mine shortly after he built his, and he dismantled his. But I'm just hoping Skill Drain does not get hit on the ban list. I mean, people are going to say, oh, it should get hit, it should get hit, and they've been saying that for years. I mean, years, ban list after ban list. I always feel Skill Drain should be hit, but it never, ever gets hit. And maybe this time it will get hit. I'm hoping it doesn't because I really like the deck in general. And it's a really fun deck. And it's not really super abusive for Skill Drain. It's just a fun lockdown type deck. But I really like that. It's a normal vanilla Skill Drain Beast. It's just a fun old deck. It's like got that beat down style type of theme that you used to have back in the day. You know, when you would summon a normal monster and just, my monster's bigger than your monster, so I just beat over it. And that's really fun. This is a deck I'm probably going to profile very shortly because I've pretty much finished working on it, and that's my Battling Boxer deck. I actually built this as soon as Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy came out because I thought it was an awesome freaking deck. You know, they just look awesome. And they're really fun because you make big lead yoke, if you didn't know. You make lead yoke, you go for lead yoke, you sit on lead yoke, and he just becomes a big beat stick, and you just protect your lead yoke and win from there. But you also have good monsters. And I like this build because you can do things like go for, like, where is he in here? You have Masked Chameleon. You have Rhoda back at 4, so the deck's actually really good now. I wish they would get the rest of their support from the OCG. That would make this deck so good, Konami. But I run things like Masked Chameleon, so you can like bring back a Battling Glassjaw, synchro up for a level 8 monster, things like that. It's really fun to play around with, so you can go for synchro and Exceeds plays. And Kaiser Coliseum is a card, so it's very fun to play around with. But this is a deck I recently updated, and I'm probably going to do a deck profile very soon. So that is one of the other decks. And the last deck I'm going to show in this tin right now is, we may have to make a part 2, guys. We still got oh my gosh, we still got 2 tins left, so there will be probably a part 3 to this. So next we have like my Exodia deck, but this is my traditional format Exodia deck. What I mean by that is it uses banned cards like Witch of the Black Forest and Sangan, and it uses the original Big Eye. But it's just a fun traditional format deck that I play with guys when I'm playing like in traditional format, and it's really fun to play with. So let's try to maybe finish this video up as quickly as possible and get it done with. We still have like 5 or 6 decks to go through, so we'll try to get this done. If the video cuts off, I apologize. So next up we have a new introduction to the family that I've been working on this past weekend. when I'm not playing finals. Dark Magician. Yes. I've been working on this Dark Magician deck for you guys, like I said in the last profile video, and I've finally kind of built it. I am still doing test playing. I've pretty much combined Dark Magician with spellbooks, and I'm trying to find a happy medium between the card ratios, but it's pretty much a Spellcaster and Friends deck with Dark Magician in it, and it's a really, really fun deck. It uses Eye of Timaeus, and it's really fun, and it's actually pretty dang good. I'm not lying. Next up, we got Horus the Black Flame Dragon. If you guys have been watching my Horus the Black Flame deck profile for ages, you know I love this deck. You know this deck is amazing. Horus the Black Flame Dragon. It's a synchro variant of Horus the Black Flame Dragon. It's very good. I'm happy Storm 4th came out, because the Monarch Storm 4th came out, because it makes this deck really, really, really pretty good. But you can summon 5-headed dragon, all the cool dragon exceeds and synchros, and it pretty much has a beatdown style type of theme with dragons, which is really, really awesome, and that's why I love that deck so much. Horus the Black Flame Dragon. And Horus the Black Flame Dragon does stop pendulum monsters, which is awesome too. Next up we have Blackwings. Now Blackwings are a deck that I actually used to play with competitively back in the day, because when Blackwings originally came out, most of them were commons and rares. There were some exceptions to that, but I pretty much played in Blackwing format because we had Dark Strike Fighter, Goyo Guardian, and all those crazy shenanigans you could do back then. Then I kind of took a break from the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, like I've said before, from like late 2007 to early 2009. But I still kept most of the cards, and that's why you see things like Rare Bora and things like that, because I still kept some of the cards, and I rebuilt the deck about 2 years ago, and I've been playing it ever since, because I've been playing it pretty much since Black Whirlwind went back to, I think, 2 or 3. Doing that one ban list, and ever since then I've been playing Blackwings again. It's a pretty dang good deck. It may not be as good as Boojins, but it's fun. You also can play Crane, so you can go for Exceed plays by bringing back Kalutes and go for Synchro plays with level 6s. It's really, really fun and pretty dang amazing. And one of my favorite Blackwing cards is, if not Shura, it's Black Armwing, because he just looks awesome with a shotgun. So that's one of the last ones. We got about 17 minutes, yes, and this is the Dark Magician deck. This is Horus the Black Flame Dragon, just with Ebelon Illusions got stuck in there. So the last deck in my tins I have is a deck I know people are going to say, oh, you play this deck, Seto, you play this deck. I like playing this deck because of the luck factor, and granted, I played with Charge of the Light Brigade, was at 3 when this originally came out, and if you put Charge of the Light Brigade back in here, it's ridiculously good. But yes, I do play Dragon Rulers. I guess you could say Light Swarm Rulers, but people just call them Light Swarms now, because of the fact it's a fun deck to play. Don't get me wrong, I mean, just dropping a JD on your opponent is fun. It's got that luck factor that comes like from watching the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, you know. Did I mill good or did I mill bad? You know, do I get to do all these combo plays, or do I get to fail? But yeah, I played, you know, I played against this deck back when Charge was at 3, and I built the deck over the summer when the structure deck came out originally. And let me just put this somewhere quickly. Okay, and the last deck we're going to showcase is one of my more competitive decks. As you can see here, we just got the decks all lying around out here on the field of battle. But the last deck I play is Madolches. TG Madolches, to be more precise. I know some people like playing hand Madolches, but the TG Madolches, I just really like it. It's really fun. I've always liked Madolches since I originally picked up the deck, because I said they just look freaking cute. And Madolche Mangeli is just my favorite. I mean, I love cooking, I love food, I love this deck with a passion. It's fun, it goes off, it explodes, it's fast, it's very good. I think the main reason people don't really play it, and Tiramisu is a boss freaking monster. It's probably one of the best XYZs in the game. But yes, I love playing this deck competitively, and I've been playing it since it originally came out. But this video is about to end, guys, and I'm going to say take care, have fun dueling, good luck dueling to all of you, and I hope you guys enjoy this video very much. I didn't get a chance to go over my extra deck, but I'll go over that when I go over my collection videos. But take care, everybody, till next time, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. I really had fun doing this with my part 2 collection video, and I'll do a collection video later on. But till next time, guys, take care, everybody. Seto Kaiba, I'm out of here, guys. Till next time. Hope you guys enjoyed this video.